Do you remember much about the circumstances in which your dad was arrested?
Personally, it was a very big change because we previously lived in Spain, so the process was a lot longer, and it was about 2 months before I could see my dad from the arrest. So it was very hard, and it was not only hard on me myself, it was hard on all of the family having to go through this change. I found that heartbreaking, really.
I know your dad's been in prison for a while, and I just wondered if you could tell me a bit about, when your dad first went to prison, what you imagined prison to be like, and what were the sort of thoughts you had about that?
Yeah, well, as soon as my mum told me that my dad's in prison, I thought of a daunting place where it was all dark and everybody was walking around with a ball and chain, but in reality it's actually not that bad. It's not the worst place to be. The building's bright, quite modern, and my dad gets all the essentials that he needs, and knowing that makes me happy.
Oh, that's pretty good to hear. Well, I wanted to move on to ask you about the time you went to Geneva, and I wondered if you could tell me a bit about what made you decide that you were prepared to go to Geneva and were happy to do that.
Yeah, I wanted to get a point across that children do have voices, and they have got a valid point to make, and I wanted to see what other countries thought of that, and how they deal with children and when the parent has been taken into prison. There should be a change in the system, and that the prison should ask families about what they think of the situation, and ask the children as well, because people do have voices and they need to be heard. Before the speech I was definitely really nervous, but once I started and I was comfortable and the PowerPoint was there, so I had no mistakes to make, so it was a good experience.
When the prison where your dad is at the moment decided that they put 2 sofas into the visits room, I wonder if you could tell me a bit about why that was so important for you.
Yeah, it made the visits feel more homely, and there wasn't a physical barrier there, so you could just touch each other and you could be all comfortable, and it just felt like home.
I just wondered what advice you'd have to maybe a young person who's just found out their parents gone to prison and they're really worried, and what would you tell them to help them cope and survive that experience?
The main thing is not to worry about the parent in prison, because at the end of the day they're there for a reason, and they're not going to be treated badly and horribly. As long as they get along with everything like they're supposed to, then everything should be fine. The prison officers at the visits are just there to do the job. They're not going to harm anybody. They're just there to make sure everything runs smoothly.
The University of Huddersfield, inspiring tomorrow's professionals.